Breaking news, President Trump just a short time ago from the East Room in the White House nominating Judge Brett Kavanaugh for the Supreme Court. The president kept the pick a closely guarded secret, introducing Judge Kavanaugh with the nominee's wife and children by his side, his parents right there in the room. Judge Kavanaugh was a former clerk to Justice Anthony Kennedy, a long history of serving Republicans, a campaign lawyer who fought during the Florida recount for George W. Bush and then worked closely with him in the White House. He worked with Ken Starr, who investigated Bill Clinton, but years later suggested that a sitting president should not be distracted by criminal investigations or lawsuits while in office. And so the political fight begins. ABC's Terry Moran is at the Supreme Court, and he leads us off tonight.
President Trump took it right down to the wire, calling trusted aides and friends even this morning, but tonight, no hesitation as he presented his Supreme Court nominee.
What matters is not a judge's political views, but whether they can set aside those views to do what the law and the Constitution require. I am pleased to say that I have found, without doubt, such a person. Tonight, it is my honor and privilege to announce that I will nominate Judge Brett Kavanaugh to the United States Supreme Court.
Then, from the judge, an introduction to the American people.
My judicial philosophy is straightforward. A judge must be independent and must interpret the law, not make the law. A judge must interpret statutes as written, and a judge must interpret the Constitution as written, informed by history and tradition and precedent.
Brett Kavanaugh, the Washington insider, 53, a conservative appeals court judge born and raised in the D.C. area, spending years in the legal trenches for Republicans on George W. Bush's team in the Florida recount battle, then serving in key positions in the Bush White House.
I worked for him for 5.5 years. Love the guy.
Kavanaugh was also on independent counsel Ken Starr's team investigating Bill Clinton. He later had second thoughts about whether presidents should be subjected to the burdens of prosecution and investigation. Now it's going to be a battle in the Senate.
Tomorrow, I begin meeting with members of the Senate, which plays an essential role in this process. I will tell each senator that I revere the Constitution. I believe that an independent judiciary is the crown jewel of our constitutional republic. If confirmed by the Senate, I will keep an open mind in every case, and I will always strive to preserve the Constitution of the United States and the American rule of law.
3 Democrats up for re-election in states Trump won are feeling intense pressure tonight. Republicans have a razor-thin 51-49 majority, and John McCain is away getting cancer treatment and may not be able to vote. The key issue, abortion, making the 2 pro-choice Republican women senators, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska and Susan Collins of Maine, crucial votes. Collins has already drawn her red line.
A candidate for this important position who would overturn Roe v. Wade would not be acceptable to me, because that would indicate an activist agenda that I don't want to see a judge have.
So let's bring in Terry Moran live at the Supreme Court tonight. You can see the protesters already gathering outside the court. Terry, you and I were listening to this history being made in the East Room together, and we heard the nominee talking about his parents, his mother once a teacher, the diversity in her classroom. He talked about his Catholic faith, saying we don't always see eye to eye with our fellow Catholics, but that they hold that faith together. And then he said that when he goes to the Hill, as we know these nominees always do, he will tell the senators, I will tell each of them that I revere the Constitution, Terry.
That's right, David. He is a stick-to-the-letter-of-the-law judge. He's an originalist, really, in the mold of Justice Antonin Scalia. Not as bold, perhaps, but thoroughgoing all the same. He's written almost 300 opinions on the appeals court here, and the conservative lawyers who know about him love him. almost all of them, because they rely on what he has said. Liberals, however, warn that this is the justice, if confirmed, who will overturn abortion and endanger many other important precedents. David?
Protesters drawn to the steps of the court and to the cameras right there behind Terry Moran with the live breaking news. Terry, our thanks to you. Of course, this pick, the second of the president in this presidency, less than 2 years in, and it could shift the court for a generation. And so now the political battle begins. Republicans, of course, hold the majority in the Senate. So is there anything Democrats can do to stop it? President Trump knows the math is on his side tonight. Let's get right to ABC's chief White House correspondent, Jonathan Karl. He's live in the East Room for us. And John, the future of the court, we cannot understate the importance of this move tonight, the political battle that's already begun. And I wanted to show everyone at home those 3 Democratic senators that Terry just mentioned: Joe Donnelly of Indiana, Heidi Heitkamp, North Dakota, Joe Manchin, West Virginia, all Democrats, all up for re-election, all in states that voted for President Trump in the election, John.
And David, all 3 of those Democrats voted for the president's first Supreme Court pick, Neil Gorsuch. But the pressure this time will be more intense because, as you point out, this is the nomination that could tilt the balance of power on the Supreme Court for a generation to come. So expect the president to campaign in their states and expect interest groups on both sides to spend millions of dollars trying to sway them. They were all 3 invited here to this announcement tonight. All 3 politely declined.
And John, as you know, if the Democrats have any hope of trying to block this nomination, they're going to need help from at least 1 or 2 Republicans. A lot of eyes on these 2 Republicans tonight. Senators Susan Collins of Maine, she's right there on the left, Lisa Murkowski on the right, and this will center around a woman's right to choose, John.
Both of them favor abortion rights. They're the only Republicans in the Senate that do, David. But here's something for you to consider. Neither Murkowski nor Collins have ever voted against a Supreme Court nomination from a Republican president.
All right, John Karl, live in the East Room. John, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.